When Game of Thrones ended, it left fans with mixed emotions. For some, it was the end of an epic journey. For others, it felt like an unfinished promise. But when House of the Dragon premiered, it didn't just bring us back to Westeros. It gave us a second chance to fall in love with the fire, politics, and pain of this world. It reminded us that the Targaryen tale was never just about dragons. It was about power, pride, and the price of holding a legacy. Now, as Season 3 approaches, the tension is higher than ever. This season isn't just continuing the story arcs, flipping the table. We already know war is coming. The dance of the dragons has begun. But according to insiders and longtime book fans, Season 3 will introduce not just new battles and betrayals, but new faces destined to change everything. And some of the spoilers. They might be the most shocking moments in the Game of Thrones universe yet too. To understand how big Season 3 really is, we have to look at how far the show has come. Season 1 was slow, political, careful. It introduced us to Rhaenyra and Alicent, two women pulled apart by ambition, fear, and family. Their friendship turned into silence. That silence became tension, and then it became war. By Season 2, all gloves were off, sons were dying, loyalties were snapping, and dragons won symbols. Of Wonderby came weapons of horror. But now, in Season 3, the show goes even deeper. This is not just about families fighting. It's about what happens when blood becomes meaningless and survival becomes everything. The lines between hero and villain are about to disappear. Even the characters we've grown close to will make choices that change how we see them forever. And then there are the characters we haven't even met yet. One of the biggest mysteries in the show so far has been Daeron Targaryen, the fourth child of King Viserys and Queen Alicent. He's been mentioned in the lore. He exists in the books, but he's been missing from the first 2 seasons. Now, in Season 3, he's finally being introduced. And that changes everything. Because Daeron is no ordinary Targaryen, raised by the Hightowers, shaped by a side of the war we haven't fully seen, he's a wild card. He's a dragon with green loyalties. And his arrival could tip the scales of the war in ways no one expects. Season 3 is also expanding the world itself. We're not just stuck in King's Landing or Dragonstone anymore. Now we're heading to the Riverlands, to Blackwood and Bracken territory. 2 strongholds with their own dreams, grudges, and armies. Every new region adds tension to the map. Every family adds complications to a war already built on betrayal. Every dragon, every sword, every whisper behind a castle wall, it's all going to count. And into this chaos, new characters are stepping forward. Some have already been cast. Others are still tightly under wraps. But one name that keeps surfacing is Alice Rivers, a healer, a mystic. Some say she's a witch. Others say she's more dangerous than any dragon. According to the books, Alice could become one of the most influential land unsettling women in the story. She doesn't fight with force. She fights with vision, manipulation, and something that feels almost supernatural. If she enters the game in Season 3, we might see loyalty itself become a weapon. But nothing prepares us for what's already confirmed. The event that's made even the most hardcore Game of Thrones fans hold their breath. Blood and cheese. It's not a theory. It's already been greenlit for this season. It's raw, cruel, and unforgettable. For those who know the books, this single moment will change everything for Rhaenyra. It will harden her, break her, and push the story into a place where there is no going back. For those new to the story, it will hit like a punch to the chest. Not because it's violent, but because it feels so personal. That's the difference this show carries. The pain isn't just meant to shock us. It makes us ask why this world keeps eating its children. Because Season 3 doesn't just promise more action. it promises more consequences. Every decision Rhaenyra and Alicent make now drips with deeper meaning. They're not just ruling for today, they're setting fire to their children's futures, and they know it. As for the dragons, they're no longer the sign of power they once were. They've become loaded weapons, symbols of empire. And now, they feel like the beginning of the end. Every time one takes off into the sky, we hold our breath, because we know, when it lands, something precious might be lost. At the heart of it all, Rhaenyra is changing. She's shedding her youth and stepping fully into rage. She is no longer the chosen girl waiting for respect. She is the queen who lost her son. Her fire has been fed by her grief, and now, even the tenderest part of her is wrapped in steel and Alicent. She's unraveling in quieter ways. Her ambition built this war. Her faith got twisted into fear. But now she's starting to feel the cost. She's watching her boys fall apart, watching a kingdom crack beneath everything she tried to control. And the guilt isn't loud, but it's everywhere. Season 3 is building towards something massive. Not just a war, but a collapse. The type of story where we already know who dies, but still flinch when it happens. 'Cause the writing doesn't focus on the death. It focuses on the feeling. Rumors say more dragons will fall, more mothers will grieve, and more betrayals, deep, personal betrayals, will steal any hope of reconciliation. There is no middle ground in this world anymore, just green and black, fire and blood, and we're not even at the worst part yet. In recent interviews, some of the returning cast members have stayed quiet, too quiet. When asked about key scenes, they give short smiles, a quick "you'll have to wait and see," and glance away. Like they're holding back something massive. Others let hints slip. One actor called Season 3 the breaking point. Another said, "This season I finally stopped asking, is my character doing the right thing? I just started asking, would they survive this choice?" It's clear, no one walks away clean this time, and if you've been following closely, you may have noticed something strange. HBO is keeping this season under tighter wraps than ever before. Fewer official leaks. No early press stills. Absolutely no trailers showing full scenes yet. That's not just good marketing. It's a sign they're protecting something big. Multiple somethings, and the fans. They feel it. The tension in the fandom is real. People are rereading Fire and Blood, hunting for clues. Reddit forums are crawling with scene breakdowns. TikTok is full of theories. Everyone wants to know who lives, who dies, and who becomes unrecognizable. Joffrey, Aegon the Younger, Viserys, Bala, Rana. These names? Right now, they're just kids in the background watching, listening, learning how to hate from the people who raised them, but not for long. They're next in line not just for thrones, but for trauma. And in Season 3, we'll start to see how this war poisons the next generation. Sources close to production say the show's tone shifts halfway through the season. Not just in pace, but in theme. Rumors suggest a full episode might be told from a child's point of view. Possibly even Aegon the Younger, Rhaenyra's surviving son after the devastating blood and cheese event. If that's true, we're in for something incredibly rare, a Game of Thrones story. Not just about power, but about surviving the memory of it. Meanwhile, the dragons are disappearing, but not because they're defeated. They're being consumed by the war, by foolish human rage. Each battle leaves scars, not just on the ground, but in the sky. And fans believe we may witness the fall of Sunfire this season. Aegon I's beloved dragon. A moment that, if shown true to the books, will mark one of the most tragic deaths in the entire series. Not because of how it happens, but because of what comes after. And while we expect the big moments to shake us, the deaths, the betrayals, it's the quieter scenes people are waiting for most. The aftermaths. The long, slow silences after the battle. The look on a character's face when they realize they've crossed a line they can never come back from. Because that's House of the Dragon's real power. You don't watch it picking sides. You watch it watching people crumble under the weight of loyalty, love, and legacy. Even Alicent, who began this tale as a quiet, clever girl caught in the politics of menace, now unraveling in full daylight. Her sons are killing. Her husband is gone. Her faith has led her straight into war, and yet, still a part of her that wants to stop, to undo all of it. You can see it in her eyes. The regret, but regret doesn't stop a war. It just haunts it from the sidelines. Another massive shift in Season 3. The politics beyond the throne. Characters like Corlys, Valerian, and Rhaenys will begin making choices that don't serve either Rhaenyra or Alicent. Because while the realm is burning, the houses of Westeros are still thinking long-term, still protecting their names. Expect new alliances. Expect betrayals from people we once trusted. And expect the unexpected from characters who've been silent for too long. Some leaks suggest Lord Cregan Stark may finally appear by the end of Season 3, also known as the Wolf of the North. He holds immense power and, more importantly, integrity. The fans are excited not just because he's a Stark, but because Westeros desperately needs a character who still believes in honor. And that may be in very short supply by the time winter arrives. Now, let's talk shocks. From behind the scenes, whispers and social sleuthing, a few scenes have been hinted at that could define the entire season. One source claims there's a moment deep in Episode 7 where something is said between Daemon and Rhaenyra that feels like the final nail. In their marriage, they've been a power couple, a fantasy, but not a happy one. Their love was built on fire, and now starting to smoke. Another whisper says, we'll see dragon versus dragon combat shot in ways no fantasy series has ever done. HBO has reportedly invested in completely upgraded VFX for airborne battles, focusing not just on spectacle, but emotional stakes. Think less superhero action and more Shakespearean tragedy with wings. And that's what makes House of the Dragon different from other shows. It never forgets emotion, even in fire. Even in blood, it gives us characters we love, and then forces them to stand on ground built from their worst decisions. It doesn't give us comfort, but it gives us truth. So as Season 3 approaches with its new faces, lost minds, burned flags, and grieving hearts, we're not asking what happens next. We're asking, how much can these people take before breaking completely? And when they break, who rises from the ashes? That's the question that will hang over every shadowed hall in King's Landing. Every dragon wing that darkens the sun. Every tear behind a queen's crown. Because House of the Dragon Season 3 isn't just promising more carnage, it's promising depth, the kind of depth that makes us question what loyalty costs, and whether peace was ever possible at all.